Hey guys, welcome back to the Tough Love Podcast with Dr. John O'Connor. Today's podcast is about loving yourself regardless of where you are in your fitness journey. And something really funny happened the other day, which kind of sparked my interest to kind of talk about this on the podcast today. And I was in the gym and my social media team and I were reviewing last year, November, I would say September, October, November, I was doing my in-body scans with my medical team and I was floating between, 1 and 3% body fat and, quite frankly, which isn't super healthy. And in addition, I was 22 pounds less than I am currently while we're recording this podcast today. But the funny part that hit me is that I'm in, weight gain mode or bulking mode, as they call it in the bodybuilding space. And I'm basically eating, 3 times the normal amount of food that I have ever eaten. I am just crushing food, early morning, mid-morning, afternoon, night, and before bed. I'm taking down an 800 calorie shake. And so at any rate, a guy that I've had decent conversation with, at the gym had came up and's like, what are you doing different? Your body, I think it was a compliment insult. I don't know. I laughed, but I'm not used to that because a year ago it would have been, you have veins coming out of veins. And I think that it probably just threw him for a loop, to see me not as vascular, but at the same time, I'm consuming, 4 to 6 pounds of chicken a week. I'm eating, 5 to 7 steaks a week. I'm eating salmon 7 times a week. I'm having 14 sweet potatoes. I'm having 14 bananas. I'm having 14 to 21 cups of oatmeal. And, why does this make a podcast interesting? Why does this make you want to just keep listening? It's because it's the mental psyche. It's the battle. It's the journey. How many times I run into people talking about, they don't like this about themselves or they don't like that about themselves. And I had saw a competitor that was probably 7 to 9 years younger than me and getting ready for a show, but similar dimensions in height. And when I saw him getting ready for the show, he was much heavier. And when he was on stage, I noticed that whether it was prep or coaching or strategy, I thought that he got extremely thin. And that's why I chose to decline my November show, because I was like, you know what? At that point, I was probably 205, 210, and cutting down, I probably came into the show at 198 pounds. And although that's remarkably lean and ripped in any, sort of sports fashion realm, but in the bodybuilding realm, I would have felt, for me, from a ego perspective, that, now seeing 3, going live to 3 shows, I definitely wouldn't have been happy with where I was. So what's my why, right? So then I'm speaking with my coaching team. I'm blessed to have a bunch of coaching professionals in my social network, and asking them, and they all kind of felt the same way. Don't rush on other than for experience. I wouldn't do any cutting and lose any good weight right now just to keep building. And, for me, at 50 years old, people are asking, I had a buddy ask me today, what's your why? And I said, I had recently mentioned that I got pulled into another company in another county north of us. And I have an anti-aging company in Monmouth County where we live. And I said, I want to be the face of every person out there that if they see my picture in, the beginning of COVID, when I was 178 pounds and I'm sitting in front of you today at 222 pounds, to never give up, to keep going, to, get past the physical limitations, handicaps, injuries, and keep working. And, I heard a Ray Lewis motivational speech, and he was talking about pain, and he was saying that it could be gone today, a week, a month, maybe even a year later, but it will pass. But if you quit, that'll stay with you forever. And, so with that being said, I had said to myself, you know what? Let me get ready. Let me embrace this. And with the holiday season, I was actually at a Friendsgiving on Friday, and, people that know me, know that I have meals with me all the time, and I'm constantly eating clean. And, they had out stuff, and, the host came over, ran over, and he's a great guy. And he's like, hey man, I got protein. And another guy that is trying to get his health in order was like, what do I eat? And of course I grabbed, just turkey and shrimp. And I think I had some carrots, and I ate a plate full of that. And I was saying to myself, I'm like, years ago, I would have never made that effort. But now I pride myself on saying, just because it's in front of you, you don't have to eat it. And more importantly, you didn't come this far to only come this far. Like, be disciplined and do better, make better choices. And as I sit here, in this chair today talking to all of you, I think the big thing is to say, what can you personally do to attain your goals? And I had a family member, come to me a couple weeks ago, and, watching me eat and seeing stuff on social media. And they were genuinely, very upset about where they currently are in their physical presentation, said they're stuck, can't lose weight, this and that. And, I had given them a huge hug and said, hey, listen, I was there. I was on the other end of it. I couldn't gain weight. And I don't care what your pain or hurt is. It's real to you, whether you're overweight or underweight, whether you're, any physical, attribute that you see as a deficit or something that's holding you back. What can you do to eradicate that? How can I work to make sure that that's never something that's going to hold me back ever again? And that's the way that I try to speak and communicate, and whatever I project, out to the world, because it's the same rap and story and line that I'm telling myself is, you need to do this, and this is why. You need to stay with this, and this is because. And, and the non-negotiables. And then the other thing that I would say in this journey is, if you're on social media and you see other people doing similar things, a thoughtless act of kindness and acknowledging them, I make it a point to acknowledge a lot of these, young amateur, if you will, fitness pros, in how hard they're working to get stronger or gain weight or lose weight, or get to that next level of fitness, because it's goddamn hard. I think one of the things that I pride myself on at 50 is, and it's my first thing that hits the world every single day, is my recovery. Whether I'm on a pulse PEMF unit that, Stephanie Luttrell turned me on to a decade ago, or, my lasers and my MedRay laser and technology company that I work for using Shockwave, or Class 4 laser, or the Mark Pro with my boy Gary. I mean, I'm constantly taking care of myself, because the way I see it, I can't perform to my best if my body's not recovered. And that's a combination of nutrition, rest, and recovery. And, that's one thing that I love with our medical company. We have Monmouth County Velocity Wellness Institute. They do an amazing job of making sure that I do an NAD drip or an NAD plus shot, once a week. I do anti-inflammatory peptides such as BPC 157 and BP, or TB 500 rather. And, just to, control inflammation and make sure my body is optimizing and being in the best shape it could be in. So again, today's podcast, especially around the holiday season, when people are talking about not gaining weight or not maintaining some level of discipline and control, you know, control is going there knowing you're going to have choices to make. Discipline is making the right choices. Execution is doing it. And, and then accountability is looking at your day of eating and saying, hey, this is what I did. This is how I'm going to work on it. This is what's going to make me better, and this is what I'll do next time to do even better. And, again, to all the people, my entire life, I've always drawn attention, good or bad. And, I'm one of those people that somebody always has something to say. And, now at 50, really, I would say throughout my 40s, I was the same way, but, definitely this year was about making my circle smaller and really listening to people that are talking, especially people that are acquaintances, which is basically one step above a stranger, but hear what they say. They don't know me, right? And take it in, appreciate the feedback. And I had a business coach once, call it, say, never look at it as a criticism, look at it as constructive feedback, and then turn that fuel into a fire that burns and motivates inside you to keep going and keep you pushing. And I know for me, I think I had heard that comment about a week and a half ago, and I tightened up a couple different things. And then also I knew in speaking to, a bodybuilding coach that was like, hey, this is part of the process, and told me go do an InBody, and what's your InBody scan say at 50. And it came back, it was, 220.8 pounds and, 6% body fat. And I was laughing that, I sat there and was ready to jump off a cliff and, at 6'3", 50 years old and, have those numbers, I think I'm a little bit ahead of the curve. But the reality is that this is why it's so important to go over your daily affirmations, to, have a plan and have a huge support group around you that understands the process and really can, make you embrace it and understand it, so you don't react to every person that has a comment or a criticism along the way. So for all you people out there working hard, trying to change your body, whether you're trying to go up the scale or down the scale, get stronger, get more flexible, I have 2 words: keep going. And I have 2 more words: never quit. The story of John O'Connor, I want people to look back and say, that guy every decade kept reinventing himself. And, my 50s is about living the best version of my life as I can, having great people around me, and being in the best physical shape I can to inspire as many people around me as possible. And if that's through my social media channels or physical contact, meeting them, working out, that's my goal. That's my mission. It's like my little brother asked me today, don't get any bigger. And he's a bodybuilder himself. He's like, dude, you look huge right now. And I was like, I got to push a little bit more. I have a plan. I appreciate that. And when I explained it to him, the great thing about family, especially, friends that are sometimes closer than family, they get it. And when they understand you, his immediate answer was, understood. I get it. I respect it. And we kind of just left it there. And that's one thing I think all of us need to appreciate, that you're going to have some people, say stuff to you that you're not going to agree with, but, use that as fuel, use that as firepower, to keep motivating you. Don't feed into it. Don't give them an answer if it's something that you don't like. Just say, totally understand your point. I do this for me and that's why I'm doing it. And, I'm enjoying the journey, enjoying the process. So any rate, guys, it's holiday season. It's upon us. For me, it's bulk season. So it's a great time to have all these calories coming at me. I'm going to make sure I pick the best ones, and I'm selective, but nonetheless, I'm embracing getting up to 230 pounds, during the month of December, and, and probably, mid-January, and then start getting ready for my first show in April. But at any rate, like I said, it's so important to understand what you're doing, understand your why, make sure that, you don't have to tell everybody your why every time and sit there and define it, but be confident in knowing your story, so that regardless of what they say, you know why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, I am wholeheartedly committed to the process. I'm thankful for, the amazing strength team and performance coaches around me. And I look forward to this transformation as I continue to gain weight and get stronger. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You could relate to it. It resonated a little bit. Please share, like it. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Take care.